Hello everyone, we are going to learn about input tax credit. Now this input tax credit, you must have heard it earlier. Now what is this input tax credit, how it is used in the GST, and how it is most important part of the GST will be learned by you right in this video. Now this video will be made in several different parts. This is just the introductory class of this input tax credit video. Now let us start. Now section 2 of 69 says input tax credit means taking credit of input tax. Now what you are taking credit of input tax which you have already paid while purchasing the inputs. Now what are inputs? Inputs are three. There are goods, there are capital goods, and there are services, right? Now what do you mean by input? Any goods other than capital goods used in business by supplier. What the act says? Act says any goods other than capital goods. Now you will ask me, sir, all the raw materials, are they input goods? Yes. All the tools and equipments that are used? Yes. Whatever you are using as the input, all those are input goods, and we only call it as inputs. We don't call it as raw material, we only call it as inputs. Section 2 and subsection 19 says capital goods are those goods whose value is capitalized in the books of accounts. Now you have purchased a machinery and installation charges on that machinery, you usually capitalize it, right? If you do not capitalize it, we call it as capital goods with some expenditure. Now can you take input tax credit on such expenditure? The answer is no, because you have not capitalized that expenditure. If you capitalize it, yes, you can take input tax credit on such expenditure. Now you will ask me, sir, why it is so and how it is done? See, there is a simple idea. You have purchased the machinery. I will write here for your understanding. You have purchased the machinery for 10,000 rupees. So total 12,000 will be the capitalized amount of that machinery. Now if you capitalize this in the books of accounts, you are depreciating on 12,000. You are not depreciating on only 10,000. So you are taking the benefit of depreciation on 12,000, which includes this 2,000. Now sir, why depreciation? In the Income Tax Act 1961, there is a section called section 32 which deals on the depreciation part. Now that section says if you are using that depreciation on this 2000 as well, then you are not getting credit on this in the GST Act. GST Act says if you are using the depreciation benefit, then yes, ITC is not available. You have to take either that or this. Now section 2 of 60 input service used in business is input service. Over the definition is so beautiful. Service which is used in business, or service which will be used in business, intended to be used in business, will be called as input service. This is given in section 2 and subsection 60. Now ITC, input tax credit, is completely explained in section from section 16 to section 21 and from rules 36 to 45. Now there is a concept of ITC availment and ITC utilization. Now ITC availment deals with section 16 to section 19. ITC utilization is given in section 49. Both are two different things. Now what is this ITC availment and ITC utilization? ITC availment means how do you avail it, and ITC utilization means how do you use it. I will give you an example so that you will understand better. After college hours, you come your home, and your mother will ask you, what would you like to have for the dinner, for the supper? Now you say, Mom, I'm not so much hungry. I can go with the dal rice. Okay, your mother has understood it. So you have availed dal rice right now. Now when your mother will prepare for you that nice dal rice and that hot dish is in front of you, when you use it, when you consume it, that is called as utilization. So you are availing ITC and you are utilizing it. These are given in these sections, right? Now what section 16 says? Section 16 says eligibility and conditions. To take input tax credit, there are certain conditions. There are eligibility. Now apportionment and block credit is given under section 17. There are these rules, okay? Section rule 38, 42 and 43 deal with apportionment and block credit. Now ITC under certain special circumstances have been given, like unregistered person taking registration into business, or some business is acquired, etc. All those will be dealt under section 18, and these are the rules 40, 41, 41A and 44. Now how do you calculate ITC? How do you calculate input tax credit? Look at this definition: taking credit of input tax. Now you should understand what is input tax. Now input tax, GST Act says whatever tax you have paid in GST, like be that CGST, be that SGST, be that UDGST, be that IGST, be that any cess, or be that even RCM, that is reverse charge mechanism, all those form a part of input tax. Now you will get credit of all those input tax under this input tax credit scheme. Hope you are understanding. I will put everything in very short point. Let me give an example so that you will understand. This is a box. Now if you are a trader, you will purchase this box and you will sell this box. You will purchase at lower price, you will sell at higher price. Now while purchasing, when I have purchased this box, I have paid taxes on this box to the government. Agreed? Now while selling it, I will collect taxes from the customer and I will give it to the government. Now you have observed two things. One, that when I had purchased it, I had paid taxes on the same box to the government, and when I'm selling it, I'm taking the tax on the same box and giving it to the government. Don't you think this is injustice by giving two different taxes on this one box? If you have understood this point, now you have understood input tax credit. What is it? This is the sales price which is higher, and this is the purchase price which is lower. Higher minus lower, you will get a positive amount, and that is your tax liability. It means you have added the difference between these two, you have added this value. This is the concept of VAT, value added tax. Now this is how you calculate tax liability. This tax liability is liability for me because I have added the value. Hope you have understood. And this is the concept of VAT, value added tax. The same has been modified and redefined in the name of ITC, input tax credit. Hope this is understood. No ITC for these three things, for these three persons. See, if you are not registered, how can you get the benefit? Right? Exempt supplies, exempt goods or services supplier. So if I am supplying such goods and services which are exempt in the GST, I need not take registration. If I am not taking registration, friends, how can I get the ITC? See, blocked credit. Now what is this blocked credit? This we will be learning in the section 17, subsection 5. What is this blocked credit? Blocked credit is a negative list of goods where you will not get the ITC in any case, even if the goods are used in the business, even if the goods are supplied by the registered person, or in any case. These are blocked credit, you will never get the credits. This will be learned in section 17, right? Now the introductory part of this slide is over. We will learn more about this in the next point. Let us start with section 16. Section 16 deals with eligibility and conditions. Now these are the documents required. Let us first start with the tax invoice. Tax invoice, in normal cases you have tax invoices. In reverse charge cases you have self invoice because you are receiving service from an unregistered person. So on behalf of him you are filing his returns, you are paying taxes to the government. Now in case of import, you are giving bill of entry, there is no invoice, we call it as bill of entry, and then input service distributors invoice are necessary, very much necessary to avail input tax credit. Now these are the conditions. Goods must be actually received at recipient's place. So if I am the recipient and there is some person who is supplying me goods, now I should receive that good at my place. If the good is in transit, no, the ITC is not available for me. Fine, I have given a very large order and supplier does not have that large quantity with him. He is supplying me in lots. Now until and unless I get the last lot to my place, I am not going to get the ITC. Next condition, tax must actually be paid by the supplier to the government. Now supplier will file his GSTR 1. GSTR 1 is outward supply. Now supplier must file GSTR 1 within the due date. Only then I am going to get ITC. Also, tax return must have been filed GSTR 3B within due date by me. Now I must have paid taxes on such goods to the government by mentioning such inward supplies for me in the GSTR 3B. Now you know that GSTR 2 is right now not in the place. We are not giving any, we are not filing GSTR 2, we are only filing GSTR 3B. These two are enough to get the ITC. As of now, government has said this through the notification. Now these are the conditions. Documents required, you only have to say tax invoice. In normal cases, tax invoice you should have, and these are the conditions. Now tax invoice must be in the prescribed form, and that prescription is given in section 31 and rule 46. If you refer to section 31 and rule 46, there is a very big list if you look at it. Now if you do not have time to follow all those, then you must at least have, section 36 only says you must at least have these many details to get input tax credit. How many details? 6 details. Let me count for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I have said both. I mean to say GSTIN of both parties. One thing you should remember, that GSTIN, if you have GSTIN, it means you are registered person. So here in this case, both must be registered person in order to get ITC. This is the hidden condition. Now transaction details, in what quantity you are getting, what quality you are getting. Fine, if you are not giving quality details, at least quantity details you should give, and what is the name of that product, right? We are not asking you about HSN or SSC. You must have heard about these two words, HSN and SSC. These are the coding system for goods and services. HSN is harmonized system nomenclature and SSC is service accounting code, right? This is given by World Customs Organization, WCO, and this is given by Indian organization. You should be proud, right? And then place of supply, where you are supplying those goods. As a supplier, where you are supplying it. As a recipient, where you are receiving it, right? Those details must be there with in the invoice. Then total amount of that transaction, and then GST paid. Who is paying the GST? The last person, the receiver, is paying the GST to the supplier. Supplier will be giving it to the government. Hope you are understanding this. Now the next point, ITC can be claimed using debit note. Okay, I'm not speaking about this, I have spoken already about it. Next point, time limit to avail ITC. 20th October or date of annual return filing, whichever is earlier, will be your last date to avail the ITC, right? Now if you have understood this much, eligibility and conditions, section 16 is not completely finished, but very important points I have covered it here, right? Now there are some miscellaneous points like debit note and underlying time limit of this debit note, right? And how did I get this 20th October? I'll tell you in short words. Financial year when it ends, let us say 1920, financial year 1920 ends on 31st March. Now from this 31st March, count 6 months more. April, May, June, July, August, September, right? 6th month will be September, and for the September months, filing date will be 20th October. I am going very much theoretically. I will give you one example. I have went into a transaction, and the date is 16th June 2018. Now I want ITC on this. While getting the ITC, immediately next month, that is the July, in the month of July you are filing a return called GSTR 3B. If you are recipient, you have to give those details that on 16th June you have purchased these many goods. These many details are required. Then only you can claim ITC. I am not saying about utilization. Claim ITC. Avail ITC. Now, fine, by your supplier has not filed his returns, or you might not have received the invoice at your place, or you might not have received goods at your place as on that date. Now fine, government says we will wait for you till next September. See, next September 2019. Now return filing of this September month is 20th October. Now this 20th October will be the last date to avail your ITC for this invoice. Hope you have understood with this example, right? So hope this all explanation is clear to you. I will speak more on the debit note in the last point. Let us go ahead with section 16. Section 16 subsection 3 is related to this rule which you have already learned. It is related to capital goods and plant and machinery. There they say no ITC if depreciation is claimed. If you remember that example of 10,000, 2,000 and 12,000, there is the point. I will give you one more example here so that you will be confident about this point. I have purchased a machinery worth rupees 1 lakh and at 18%. This 1 lakh includes the installation and inspection and all other charges. GST 18% that I have paid. If I claim depreciation on 1,18,000, then there is no ITC. You have understood this point. And if I have not taken the credit of this GST that I have paid, then 1 lakh rupee will be my amount, capitalized amount on which I am claiming depreciation. Here in this case ITC is available for me. This is subsection 3 of section 16. That's all. Over. Now rule 37, what it says: recipient must pay amount to supplier within 180 days. Otherwise ITC reversal will happen plus interest at 18% per annum. What does it mean? It is really very difficult for all the recipients. This is really very harsh rule. Every chartered accountant and GST professional is backing around this point, because government has made this rule so harsh that every recipient is suffering because of this rule. How is it? Let me tell you a story. I am a supplier and I have supplied a good to recipient, and recipient has to pay 60,000 to me because he has purchased this amount on credit basis. And the date I will tell you, the date some random date, 11th of October 2018. On this date I have supplied goods to recipient on credit basis. The total transaction value was 60,000 rupees on this date, 11th October. Now in the month of November, when I am filing returns for the month of October, you know the date, 20th of next month will be return filing date. On the 20th November, while filing GSTR 1, that is outward supply, and GSTR 3B, while filing these returns, I mentioned that to this recipient I have supplied goods worth rupees 60,000 on credit basis and on 11th October. Now can I claim ITC on this? The answer is yes. Government says yes, you take full ITC, and recipient must pay you within 180 days. Make sure that recipient is paying to you this 60,000 plus taxes, okay, plus taxes to you. What will happen on the other side of the story? I have told to the government, I have communicated to the government through these forms that yes, I have went through this transaction. Now government says you take the ITC. As on this date, you take the ITC. Fine. I have taken ITC. I have used it. I am utilizing the benefit of ITC from this date. Now recipient, what recipient does is, recipient pays me on 31st May, which is well beyond this 180 days from this date, right? Now गवर्नमेंट सेज भैया आपने जो आईटीसी लिया था आपको अब रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज रेसिपिएंट इज नॉट पेइंग यू विद इन 180 days and recipient must pay me 60,000 plus interest at 18%. This is compulsory. Now I have to take this interest and pay it to the government. It is my responsibility and it is the liability of the recipient to pay me this 60,000 plus interest. It is my responsibility to collect the taxes on these goods and to collect the interest on the same good from the recipient. It is my responsibility. Recipient must pay this to me. It is his liability. Hope this is understood. Now whatever ITC I had taken from the government as on this date, government says you have to reverse it. I have taken from the government, I have taken ITC. I have to reverse it, means I have to pay that much amount to the government back, and therefore we call it as ITC reversal. This is the concept of ITC reversal. This is the story. And interest at 18%, who has to pay? Recipient has to pay. Understood? So this rule is regarding recipient, rule 37. This is really a very harsh rule because recipient may not be having money every time, but fine, you know, this is the rule. We are expecting amendment as on this regard, right? So this is the story about section 16 and rule 36 and 37. We will learn about debit note in this example. I will read this example for you. Suresh sells goods to Ramesh on 15th August 2019 worth rupees 70,000. Good XYZ, this is the name of the good. Good XYZ carried 12% GST rate. Ramesh pays amount plus taxes by check. Suresh issues invoice, this is the invoice number, okay, invoice number ABC 2019 AUG 15, right? Invoice number can be anything. It can be it should be in a serial order, okay? On 20th November 2019, after this date, on 20th November 2019, government issues a notification stating that above mentioned good carries 18% GST rate. What was the earlier rate? 18%, 12%, and now it is 18%. Determined amount recoverable by Suresh from Ramesh, because Suresh is supplier and Ramesh is receiver. How do you recover this amount? The answer is very much clear in front of your eyes. It is through the debit note. How it is? Let me tell you. What is the value of the amount? Transaction value is 70,000. Now if I will use the calculator, 70,000 into 12%, it is 8,400, because in the example they have clearly stated Ramesh pays amount plus taxes by check, and the rate of the GST is also given. So this will be 78,400. This is the amount which is paid by Ramesh. On what date? On 15th August, 15/8/2019. Now on 20th November, government issues a notification stating that this good carries 18% GST rate. Now it is the responsibility of Suresh to collect the amount from the Ramesh, right? So I will calculate 70,000 plus 18%. Again I will use the calculator. 70,000 into 18%, it is 12,600. 12,600, and total amount will be 82,600. This will be amount which will be recovered on 28th November. 28th November. November is 11th month. Now how will this be recovered? It will be recovered through debit note. Debit note. When are you using this debit note? You are using debit note only in two cases. There is no third case. When GST rate is increased, then you are issuing a debit note. When this amount, transaction value has increased, then also you are issuing debit note. These are the only two cases. There is no third case when you are issuing debit note. Now you will tell me, if this rate was 5%, if you have understood this example, I will go ahead. If this rate was 5%, then credit note will be issued, right? How this debit note looks like? It looks like your normal tax invoice, but debit note is always issued against invoice numbers. Against this invoice, debit note is issued. Hope this is understood, and this is very important point. Please remember, debit note or credit note is always issued against the invoices which was given earlier, right? You can claim the ITC, you can reverse the ITC using this debit note. This carries good weightage in GST. Now this is all about the concept of debit note, right? There is only one point you should remember, that debit note and the underlying invoice number, right? Now validity, speaking about validity about debit note, the validity of debit note is this invoice date. We are using under section 16 subsection 4 speaks about time limit of using a credit ITC, time limit to claim ITC. Now this speaks about the invoices, okay, the date in the invoices. We are using time limit, and debit note, if you are issuing, it is only against such invoices, and therefore the time limit will be the same as you are using in the invoices. Hope this is all understood. And debit note and credit note, I will assume that debit note as well as credit note is understood to you, and I declare that yes, it is taught to you. We will see numerical problems in the next video.